It was supposed to be a fun weekend getaway. 5 friends, Sarah, Jason, Emma, Mark, and Lily, decided to escape their hectic city lives and camp in the remote Blackwood Forest. Renowned for its untouched beauty and serene environment, it was the perfect place to relax and reconnect with nature. They arrived in the late afternoon, set up their tents, and built a fire. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, they laughed and shared stories around the crackling flames. The forest around them grew darker, the towering trees casting long, ominous shadows. "I heard this forest is haunted," Jason said with a grin, trying to spook the others. "They say that if you listen closely, you can hear the voices of lost souls." "Oh, come on, Jason," Sarah rolled her eyes. "That's just an old legend to scare tourists." But as the night deepened and the forest around them grew silent, an uneasy feeling settled over the group. The fire's warm glow seemed to barely hold back the encroaching darkness. Around midnight, the first strange sound came. It was faint, almost indistinguishable from the usual forest noises. But then it grew louder, an eerie, echoing cry that sounded eerily like Emma's voice, calling out for help. "Emma," Lily's voice trembled. "Did you just call?" Emma shook her head, her eyes wide with fear. "No, I didn't." Cry echoed again, this time clearer, undeniably Emma's voice but filled with desperation and pain. "Help me." Jason stood up, trying to peer into the darkness. "This isn't funny, Emma. Stop it." "I'm not doing it," Emma protested, her face pale. Mark grabbed a flashlight and shone it into the forest. "Maybe someone's out there, messing with us." They all fell silent, straining to listen. The forest seemed to hold its breath, the usual sounds of nightlife absent. Suddenly, the cry echoed again, but this time it was Jason's voice, sounding distant and terrified. "Run! Run now!" Panic set in. "Whoever's doing this, knock it off," Jason shouted, but his voice wavered with fear. Sarah tried to reason. "Maybe it's someone using a recording of our voices to scare us." "But how did they get our voices?" Lily asked, her eyes darting around the dark trees. Another voice called out. This time it was Mark's, pleading and broken. "Please, help me." The friends huddled together, their flashlights flickering. "We need to stay together," Sarah said, trying to keep calm. "We'll pack up and leave first thing in the morning." But the forest had other plans. The cries continued, each one more desperate and chilling, mimicking their voices perfectly. It was as if the forest itself was alive, playing a twisted game. Hours passed, and sleep was impossible. The cries echoed around them, seeming to come from every direction, sometimes overlapping, creating a cacophony of terror. When the cries took on a new tone, whispering secrets, only the group knew fear turned into pure horror. Jason's voice whispered to Mark about a childhood accident he had never told anyone. Emma's voice taunted Lily with insecurities she had only confided in her closest friends. It was as if the forest was reading their minds, using their darkest fears against them. At dawn, the cries ceased abruptly, leaving an eerie silence. The group, exhausted and on edge, quickly packed their gear, eager to leave the cursed forest behind. But as they hurriedly made their way back to their car, they realized the forest was not done with them. The path they had come in on seemed to twist and change. Familiar landmarks were gone, replaced by dense thickets and impassable underbrush. It was as if the forest was closing in, trapping them. Panic set in as they stumbled through the forest, trying to find their way. The cries began again, now clearer and closer. "Help me! Please!" The voices echoed in their ears, driving them to the brink of madness. Desperate and exhausted, they finally broke through the trees and stumbled onto the road where their car was parked. They piled in, breathless and terrified. As they sped away, the cries faded into the distance, but the terror lingered. Back in the safety of their homes, the friends tried to put the nightmare behind them, but the experience had changed them. They avoided the forest and never spoke of that night again. But each one of them knew, deep down, that something evil lurked in Blackwood Forest, something that could mimic their voices and read their darkest thoughts. Years later, when a new group of campers went missing in the forest, the friends knew the truth but could do nothing. The echoes of their voices still haunted them, a chilling reminder of the night they faced the darkness and barely survived.